Let me make sure it went up there. Let me make sure. Give me 1 second, guys. Yep, it went up. It went up this time. Yes, yes, it is over Monday. Monday, the feast will be over. But I'm gonna pray, and we're gonna get on into the and get into the scripts. Before I do, a lot of different camps did pass over different days. At least this time, everybody fell on the same week. But you got people. Some people did pass over last month, like March 6th and 7th. What? I don't know what they going by, but people do. But when Messiah gets here, we all be doing it the same time. Ain't gonna be no confusion. But let me pray. Abba, Heavenly Father, we just thank you for your Sabbath day, your holy Sabbath day. In this particular Sabbath day, we are in the feast of unleavened bread. We just thank you for sending your son to be that sinless bread for us to partake in. Father, we just thank you for all of your people that are here today, and we ask that you will bless them, that you will edify them, and you will change them for the better in their lives on today. Father, we thank you that they will not only be hearers of your holy scriptures, but they will be doers of your holy scriptures. Father, we just thank you right now that any demonic attack, any spirit of argument, strife, and debate, we cast it out right now, and that your ruach will flow, and this message will go smooth as peanut butter, and everybody will be blessed. Father, right now we give you alone all the praise, all the honor, all the glory. Do your mighty, magnificent name. We humble ourselves in your presence. It's not about us, it's all about you. Father, we thank you for all of this that we just prayed in the mighty, precious name of your son, Yeshua Mashiach. Amen. Amen. Yeah. Yeah, that's right, brother Zachariah Z. Messiah will fix it all when he gonna fix it, and he gonna teach it for 1,000 years how it's supposed to be. If I was wrong, I'm gonna say, Yeshua, you knew that was not my intent. And he gonna say, my mercy is sufficient for you, my son. That's what he gonna say. But what's today? What we talking about today? Beware of the lunar Sabbath. Again, beware of the lunar Sabbath. And I'm going to tell you, this is a very, very dangerous doctrine. Very dangerous. And because I know my mom, when I was talking to her about keeping the Sabbath, we should keep the Sabbath. This one thing she said, well, they say the Sabbath can be on any day of the week. So, she said she just pick a day, and that's us. That's the kind of, so when there's confusion about as to when the Sabbath is, people just, whatever. That's how dangerous this doctrine is. We don't know what day of the week it is. It could, see, with the lunar Sabbath, the Sabbath can be on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, whatever day. It ain't never a fixed day. We're gonna show you that today. And they cite this, the lunar Sabbatarians, they cite this. Daniel 7:25. They said, and he, you gotta ask them, what he they talking about right here? They ain't talking about Michael Jackson. He. What's the he that they, who is the he? When you read this particular thing, when Daniel is prophesying, he prophesying about the Greeks taking over and everything, and specifically Antiochus, Alexander the Great start conquering everybody, just really real quick. But when he died, he set up his kingdom split between four, but one of them was Antiochus Epiphanes. That dude was crazy. You can go read the Maccabees and read all about him. The word Antiochus Epiphanes, that means God incarnate. Dude thought he was God. I don't know what he was thinking. Epiphanes. Man, get out of here. But anyway, he's saying he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High. Wear them out. He gonna wear them out. Persecute them. And what? And think to change times and laws, and they shall be given into his hand until the time and times and the dividing of times. Now, I do believe that this is dual prophecy. I believe it was back then with Antiochus Epiphanes, and I do believe it's for the end time today. I do believe that there are several dual prophecies in the Bible. But for instance, case in point, not to deviate too far off, Matthew, let me pull it up real quick. Oh, you're gonna learn today. Because look, it's always be learning. Just like More Israel Charlie. He gave me this. He always be learning. He made a shirt and sent it to me. All right, that brother there. Always be learning. We're gonna go to Matthew real quick. Show you an example of a dual prophecy. Oh boy. Didn't know I was gonna say this, but you just follow the unctioning of the Ruach. Yeah, here we go. It says, this is Matthew chapter 24. It said, therefore, Yeshua, when it's read, he said, therefore, when you see the abomination of desolation spoken by Daniel the prophet standing in the holy place, whoever reads, let him understand. He said, then let those who are in Judea flee to the mountains. Well, what mountains you gonna flee to, huh? Well, what mountains you flee? This was about 70 AD, but Yeshua was using the prophecy that Daniel had foretold about Alexander the Great and all them. He was using that same example. So Yeshua used it for the 70-day AD account. But so I'm gonna tell you, it's a triple prophecy because I believe it can things in Matthew chapter 24 can also apply for the end time for us today. Yep. But we ain't gonna spend that much time on it. They said it changed. He changed the times. I'm telling you, the order never changed. They tell they talking about the Julian calendar the Julian calendar and the Gregorian calendar. The times change. We don't know what day of the week. Blah 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 blah. Stick in the cloud. We'll explain that a little bit later. But I'm going to tell you, the devil knows the importance of the Sabbath. He knows it. He knows. People don't understand. He knows the importance of the Sabbath. So what he got to do? He got to muck it up. He got to blur the lines. He got to make it where we don't know where everybody doing something that because he knows. This dude know he on death row and his time is short. So he's trying to take as many people as he can with him. But let's go to Isaiah 58:1. We're going to read verses 1 and 2. Then we'll skip to 13 to 14. Because what Isaiah said, he said, cry aloud. And Most High said, cry aloud and spare not. And lift up thy voice like a trumpet. And show my people their transgression, the house of Jacob their sins. Yet they seek me daily. Yeah, we seek them daily and delight. They delight to know my ways as a nation that did righteousness. And what? And forsook not they acting like they ain't forsook me. And forsook not the ordinances of their God. They ask of me the ordinances of what? Justice. They take delight in approaching me. And then so if you keep reading like 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on, it start talking about fasting. They said they fast and they saying, why you ain't hearing us? He said, because y'all wicked. Y'all doing the poor wrong. You're doing the less fortunate. You're doing them wrong. You're doing them wrong. You're doing them wrong. You're doing them wrong. But as soon as he turned from fasting, then he turned right in verse 13 into the Sabbath. Guess what? Sabbath keeping is a form of fasting, as in what? You fast from work. You cease from work. So verses 1 through 12, he talking about fasting. Then he turned right around and said, if thou turn thy foot away from the Sabbath, from doing thy pleasure on my holy day. Who day is this? This is his holy day. It's his holy day. People don't understand that. Moses, no, it's his day. He said, if thou turn away thy foot from the Sabbath, have you turned your foot away from the Sabbath? From doing thy pleasure on my holy day, doing what you want to do. Go to, what are we commanded to do? Not work and what? Congregate. What do they do? Learn the scriptures. From doing my holy day and call the Sabbath a delight. You're supposed to call it the delight. All the Christians I know, deep, Brother Zacharias, deep deception. All the people that I know, they say the Sabbath is bondage. Oh, that's bondage. But they go to church on Sunday. Oh no, I got to go to church on Sunday. I was one of them. I remember one time, me and my cousin, me and my cousin, we was doing I was helping him. He was painting somebody's house and putting up drywall. And so, I was there with him. I was his ride, actually. Well, we used my car to go over there and do the work. And and I was like, now I'm gonna tell you. I'm going ahead and tell you now. I'm going to church on. It was Wednesday night Bible study. I'm going to Wednesday night. That's how strong I'm going to Wednesday night Bible study that day. And he's like, "Oh, you ain't got to go to church every time the doors open." I said, "Yes, I do." I was man, when Bible study came and when Sunday came, I was working at Barn Hills in the food. I was working in the food industry. I worked there for about 5 years in the food industry. I've been worked everywhere. I've been everywhere, man. I've been everywhere. And the job that I had, they had me on the schedule for Sunday. Now back then, I worked on. So I didn't know it was a Sabbath day. I didn't know. But Sunday, she said, Miss Dale, that was her name. I went to. I said, "Hey, I can't work on Sunday. That I gotta go to church that day. That's our Sabbath. She said, "No, baby, everybody work on Sunday." And I said, "Not me. I don't work on no Sunday." She said, "I tell you what time your church get out?" I said, "Oh, we get out about 1 o'clock. He said, "Can you be here by 2?" I said, "Yeah, I'll be there by 2. But I'm just saying, that day had me bondage where I couldn't do nothing. I gotta go. So if I believe the Sabbath, which is backed up by the Bible, is his day, and you believe Sunday, so if you say I'm in bondage to the Sabbath, you in bondage to Sunday, which ain't sanctioned in the Bible. Yeah, it's my favorite day too. Can't wait for it. wake up like it's like on Christmas, like I used to wake up Christmas morning. Oh, but it says it's a delight. He said, "Don't do your own pleasure, nor speaking thine own." Don't speak what you want to speak on that day. Well, I ain't speaking what I want to speak. I'm speaking this. He said, "Then thou shalt delight thyself in the Most High, and I will cause thee to ride upon the high place. If you don't turn your feet from the Sabbath, he will elevate you to the high places of the earth. And you will be fed with the heritage of Jacob thy father, for the mouth of Yahuwah has spoken it." His mouth spake this. They don't want to be fed with the heritage of Jacob. What's that? This. They don't want it. So before we get into Lunar Sabbath, we gotta just show you today is important. And then when you get to, I didn't put it in here, and I'm not gonna read it, but I'm just gonna reference it. Isaiah 56, I believe, chapter 56, where it's talking about showing you the importance of the Sabbath. Yeah, salvation for the Gentiles. Talking about if people that keep the Sabbath, what did it say? I will read verse 6. It says, also the sons of the foreigner who would join themselves to the Most High to serve him and to love the name of the Most High to be his servants. Everyone who keep from defiling the Sabbath day, you will be blessed. That's what people don't get. You will be blessed. Go read the whole chapter of Isaiah 56 one day, and you will see the importance of the Sabbath. But the Sabbath, what is it? What is it? It is, from dictionary, said a day of religious observance and abstinence from work kept by the Jews from Friday evening to Saturday evening, and by most Christians on Sunday. We have been taught that Jesus abolished the Sabbath. No, he did not. That's the dumbest thing I ever heard. Because we should know that in Hebrews 13:8, Yeshua HaMashiach is the same yesterday, today, and forever. He always, he kept it when he was here. He gonna keep it when he get back. Isaiah 40:8 says that the word of Most High stands forever. Did he speak it? Yes. Psalms 89:34, my covenant will I not break, nor alter the thing that he won't change nothing that he has said. Devil, you're going to eat dust all the day of your life. That's what it is. James 1:17. It said every good gift and every perfect gift is from above and coming down from the Father of lights, which is no what? No variableness. He don't change. Neither shadow of turning. Of his own will begat he us with the word of truth, that we should be a kind of first fruits, which is tomorrow, of his creatures. Genesis 2:1-3. Here we go. Thus the heavens and the earth were finished, and all the host of them. And on the seventh day, the Most High ended his work which he had made, and he rested on the seventh day. Not no lunar Sabbath. We're going to show you what the lunar Sabbath doctrine is. From all his work which he had made, and the Most High blessed the seventh day and sanctified it. He set it apart for don't no other day have no name. None of them have no name except the Sabbath. He called them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Shabbat. That's what it is. He blessed it. He sanctified it. Because did we just read he the same? So why is it not the Sabbath anymore? Stop playing. Y'all need to stop playing and just realize that you have fallen into the apostate tradition of men. Just go ahead and be honest with yourself. Keep it 100. Keep it a buck. That's what you have done. Because that in it, he had rested from all his work, which the Most High created and made. But the word blessed, that word is Barak, not Obama. It means to bless, to kneel, to bless. And to be blessed, bless oneself, to bless. He blessed himself in blessing this day. And down at numeral 2, it says to praise, salute. Now, Barak can mean curse, but that's what Christians say today. Oh, he cursed this day. No, he did not curse this day. But let's go. Sanctify. Let's see what that means. That word, I believe that word is Kadesh, I believe. Let me look it up. I cut it off. Let me look it up real quick. How that happen? And I call myself being thorough. Let's look that up. Let's go to Genesis. Even bro, I ain't perfect, y'all. Bro, running how you make that mistake? All right. Let me chapter 2, brother. What you doing? Brother Ronnie ain't perfect. I would like to be. Here you go. And he blessed and he sanctified it. Let's see what it is. Yeah, Kadesh. I had it right. But you see it. To consecrate, sanctify, prepare, dedicate, be hallowed, be holy, be separate. He separated it from the other day. You can read the rest of that on your own. But did you know they had the Most High gave them the Sabbath before the 10 Commandments? First, he gave it to Adam. Over time, they forgot it. So when they're in the wilderness, he gave it to them again. People don't know that they had the Sabbath before the 10 Commandments. It says, Exodus 16:4. Then the Most High said unto Moses, behold, I will rain bread, manna from heaven for you, and the people shall go out and gather a certain rate every day, that I might prove them, whether they will walk in my law or no or not. What law? What you talking about? We ain't made it to Sinai yet. What you talking about? And he said unto them, this is that which the Lord hath said, tomorrow is the rest of the holy Sabbath. When did you do that? What are you talking about? You just making that up, Most High. No, I gave it to Adam. Oh my goodness. Skip to verse 25. He said, Moses said, eat today is a Sabbath unto the Most High. Today ye shall not find it in the field. In the field. Days, certain amount of days, you shall cut it off. You shall gather it, but on the seventh day, which is the Sabbath, in it there shall be none. The seven. Skip to verse 28. And the Most High said unto Moses, how long refuse ye to keep my laws? Because some of them were gathering too much. He said, how long will you refuse ye to keep my commandments and my laws? You ain't gave us none. What you talking about? We can't defile the Sabbath. We can't break the Sabbath law, and you ain't gave it to us yet. We ain't got to the mountain yet. But anyway, Sabbath. Their word is Shabbat. Shabbat. We're gonna look at that more closely later in the lesson. But they actually when they get there, they actually get to the mountain. And what he said, and the Most High spake all these words, saying, I am the Most High, thy Elohim, Yahuwah, Yahweh, thy Elohim, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Then you know the path. I said, let's leave there. Let's get up out of there. Get out of Egypt. Under bondage. The bondage of what? Sin. Sin weighs you down. Keep doing it long enough. You see how you feel. Not good. Let me put this lesson back up here because I went to my iPad real quick. You'll see. Let's see. They tired of mac and cheese. It says, but he said, remember the Sabbath. Keep it to what? To keep it what? Holy. 6 days thou shalt labor and do all thy work, but the 7th day is the Sabbath of the Most High, thy Elohim. In that you don't do no work. He said, skip all the way to the bottom. Wherefore the Most High, what did he do? He blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it, or set it apart. He separated it what? From the other days. But what does he do to people that break their Sabbath? They eventually they're gonna be put to death. Let's read 31:12-18. And the Most High spake unto Moses, said, speak thou unto the children of Israel. He gave it to him in chapter 16. He gave it to Adam. He gave it to him in chapter 16, the children of Israel. And then he gave it to him in chapter 20 on the mountain. And then verse 31, he said, let me remind them. Let me put it back in their remembrance. And the Most High spake unto Moses, saying, speak thou also unto the children of Israel, saying, verily my Sabbaths ye shall keep, for it is a sign between me and you throughout your generations, that ye may know that I am the Most High that does sanctify. You say you and your generations. What? But who generation is Moses in? Abraham. You shall keep the Sabbath, therefore, for it is holy unto you. Everyone, some of them, just a few other ones. No, everyone that defileth shall surely be put to death. For whosoever doeth any work therein, that soul shall be cut off from among his people. 6 days may work be done, but in the 7th is the Sabbath of rest, holy to them. It's holy to oh, it ain't holy to me no more. He don't change, but it ain't holy to him no more. Skip to verse 16. But 15, he said, you're going to surely be put to death. Verse 16. Wherefore the children of Israel shall keep the Sabbath, to observe the Sabbath throughout their generation for a perpetual covenant. It is a sign between me and the children of Israel forever. You the seed of Abraham. And Israel his seed. You've been engrafted in, but you ain't got to keep. Man, get out of here. It says, it is a sign between me and the children of Israel forever, for in 6 days the Most High made heaven and earth, and on the 7th day he rested and was refreshed. And he was refreshed? Yeah. Who are you to tell the Most High he can't be refreshed? Oh, yeah. Shut up, stupid. And he gave unto Moses when he had made an end of communion. He get tired of your sin. He made all this universe. He can't refresh himself. He get tired of your sin. And he gave unto Moses when he had, we be fed on. I'm sick and tired with these people. I'm tired, man. I'm just through. I'm done. Most High can't be refreshed. And he gave unto Moses when he had made an end of communion with him upon Mount Sinai 2 tables of the testimony, tables of stone written with the finger of Yah. That's his commandment. You can't never change it. There you go, right there. I'm just showing you them the tables. That's it. Well, let's get to 23. Leviticus 23, talking about these holy days, the Sabbath. All of the holy days fall under the commandment. Remember the Sabbath, keep it holy. These are them. We're not going to read it. You can pause and read that on your own for the sake of time, because we got a lot of information to cover. But as I was reading all about the Sabbath, Did you hear anything about the Sabbath changing to a different day of the week every month? Did you hear that? Type 1 in there if you heard anything about the Sabbath changing. Nobody should type a 1 because you didn't hear that. And then there was nothing. Or the Sabbath, the lunar Sabbath, the moon. It's for stop. Because I'm gonna tell you that lunar doctrine is the tradition of men. It's a lot of traditions of men. What'd you say? Oh, it must be somebody outside with these thin walls. But the tradition of men. That's what a lot of this stuff is. Tradition, basic tradition. Even this week, when people was, said we gotta sight the moon. We gotta sight the moon. Actually, see the moon for the new month to start. That's tradition. We're gonna show you that today. Tradition. Yeshua, what you say? But in vain they do worship me. What? They vain worship me, teaching for doctrines the commandments of men. So if you try to worship him through tradition of men, you are worshiping him in vain. Mark 7:8, because these are Matthew 15 and Mark chapter 7. That's where they try to say Jesus made all meat clean. No, he didn't. He said, for a land, we ain't gonna get into that today. It said, for laying aside the commandment of Yah, you lay aside the commandments of the Most High. You lay it aside. Ye hold the tradition of men as the washing of pots and cups and many they had a hand washing. They said, why do your disciples transgress the elders when they don't wash their hands when they eat bread? That's what that was all about. It wasn't about you can eat pigs. Yeshua said, you holding tradition up over the word of the Most High. Paul gonna say the same thing. He said, because what's the name today's teacher? Beware of the lunar Sabbath. Paul tell her, he said, beware. Lest any man spoil you through philosophy and vain deceit, after the tradition of men, after the rudiments of the world, and not after Hamashiach. I didn't say it. I didn't say it. 33 in here. Thank y'all. Do me a favor. Hit that like button if you can. Hit it. Hit it if you can. Help us be visible. So here is an example of traditions of men. Because I gotta put it in there. It's all throughout the Bible, but here's just an example of the traditions of the elders. Paul said, are they Hebrews? So am I. Are they Israelites? So am I. Are they the seed of Abraham? So am I. Are they ministers of Hamashiach? I speak as a fool. I am more, in labors more abundant, in stripes above measure, in prisons more frequent, in deaths oft. Of the Jews, which not of the Most High's law, I put that in parentheses. He said, of the Jews, 5 times received I 40 stripes, save 1. That's 39 stripes. That's a tradition. What the law say? Deuteronomy 25:2. And it shall be, if the wicked man be worthy to be beaten, that the judge shall cause him to lie down and to be beaten before his face, according to his fault, by a certain number. What's the number you're supposed to go by? 40 stripes. Not 39 like Paul said. But Paul wasn't saying it. That's why he said of the Jews, because they had their own traditions of the elders. They were so worried about breaking Deuteronomy 25:3, they added, we to not break giving them over 40 stripes, we're going to give them 39. The law said give them 40 stripes. He may give him and not exceed, that's traditions of the elders. That sighting of the moon where you got to see the crescent, that's not thus saith Yahweh. It's not. I can tell you, it's not. Yeah, that's leaven. That's called leaven. Because if it ain't what the Most High said, then Israel, they had good intent, but over time they made those laws supersede the Most High's laws. A whole bunch of them in there. But let's go to Genesis 1:14-19 because we're going to get into it. Let's see what the sun, moon, and the stars. A lot of people don't know what they for. The sun, moon, and the stars. They are for time telling. The sun is for days, the moon is for months, and the stars are for years. People don't get that. People don't get it. Well, you can just tell about the constellations. Just step out on your front porch. If you somewhere where you can see you will see the stars moving across the sky from east to west all year long. Letting you know when it's in a certain place, you know the year is about to be over. But Genesis 1:14-19, it said, and the Most High said, let there be lights in the firmament of heaven to divide the day from the night. What are they for? To divide the day from the night. And let them be for what? Signs. And for what? Seasons. Moed, Moedim. And for days. And for what? Years. And let them be for lights in the firmament of heaven to give light upon the earth. And it was so. I don't know if you ever been out on a full moon, how you can see. That light from the moon, you can see in pitch dark, you can see. But when that moon gone, sometimes, like if you in the country, you don't have no lights out there, you won't be able to see your hand in front of your face. if it's cloudy that night where the stars ain't really shining too. But anyway, it says, and the Most High made two great lights, sun, moon, the greater light to rule the day, that's the sun, the lesser light to rule the night, that's the moon. And he made the stars also, and he set them in the firmament of heaven to give light upon the earth. What's their purpose? This is it right here. And to rule over the day and over the night, and to divide the light from darkness. And the Most High saw that it was what? Good. And the evening and the what? The morning were the fourth day. See, let me keep it pushing. Evening, morning. That's how we do. Like today, yesterday, Friday at sunset, that even though on the Gregorian calendar, it still was April the, what's today's day? Yesterday, it was the 7th, but at sunset, it changed to the 8th. Sunset to sunset. That's how the Most High operates. That's what he does. It changed the date. Now, the actual day or work time hours, according to the scriptures, sometimes it starts when you can see. You got the nighttime portion of a day, and then you got the daytime portion. That's how he works. So the thing is, which one of these is the first day of the month? Is it the crescent, or is it when you can't see? Which one is it? A lot of people don't know that what's the difference between a full moon and a new moon. They don't know. I asked one person one time, what's a new moon? Oh, full moon. Right. Okay. But let's go to Sirach 45, 5-10. Great is the Most High that made it, and at his commandment runneth hastily. He made the moon also to serve in her season for a declaration of times. What? Moon means when you say new moon, you're basically saying what? New month. That's all it means. When the moon has no light, that's when it's new. That starts the what? The new month. But as tradition went, what they decided to do, well, how do we know if we saw it or not? So what they would start to do was, well, when we see the first slither of light, then that must have been the new moon. Sometimes it took like 2 days. It took 2 days to see the light, and don't let it been a cloudy night. So that's when the Sanhedrin got involved, and they said, well, we gonna send some folks out there to go see that slither. We need to see that. Do some research. And it said, and he made the moon also to serve in her season for a declaration of times and a sign of the world. From the moon is the sign of the feast, a light that decreaseth in her perfection. It goes away. Well, you can't see it in the sky. It's still there. You just can't see it. The month is called by her name, increasing wonderfully in her changing, being an instrument of the armies above, shining in the firmament of heaven. The beauty of heaven and the glory of the stars, and ornament giving light in the highest places of the Most High. At the command of the Holy One, they will stand in their order and will never faint in their watches. That's why they never, ever stop. It's up a couple of times when the Most High made it happen. You know, when he made the sun stand still for Joshua them, and then he turned it back some degrees for I believe it was Hezekiah. I believe. I could be wrong. But anyway, they do what he say. If he say stop, they stop. Psalms 81, 1 through 3. To the chief musician upon Gittith, a psalm of Asaph. Sing aloud unto the Most High strength, and make a joyful noise unto the God of Jacob, Jacob. Take a psalm and bring hither the timbrel and the pleasant harp with the psaltery. Blow the trumpet in the new moon. See, they think that that's a festival. They think that that's a festival every new moon. No, it's not. It's not the new moon that this one is talking about is the Feast of Trumpets, Yom Teruah. Blow up the trumpet in the new moon in the appointed time. And they blew the trumpet in the new moon when they blew that one in the dark. Like when Yeshua come back at the last trump, the moon will not give its light. That's what people don't get. Go by. All right. In the time appointed on our solemn feast day, for this was a statute for Israel and a law for the God of Jacob. When that moon ain't giving no light, trumpets blown. When Yeshua come back, the moon will not give his light. Let's go to Leviticus to show you this is what this was talking about. So now some people try and read it and say, oh, this got to do it with this got to do with the solemn feast, that Passover. No, it's not. I don't know where you're getting that from. And it says, and the Most High spake to Moses, saying, speak unto the children of Israel, saying in the 7th month, brother, Ronnie, when we gonna get to? We almost there, setting the foundation. You got to understand the way they use the moon and stuff. You got to understand what it is, what they for. Tell me some, man. It said, speak unto the children of Israel, saying, in the 7th month, that's Tishrei, in the first day, in the 7th month. Now, Jews today, they call it the head of the year, Rosh Hashanah. They call it the new year. No, that is not the new year. It is in the first day. He said it's the 7th month. So when has the 7th month, when has the 7th month ever become the new, stop, quit playing. It said, in the first day of the month shall ye have a Sabbath, a memorial of blowing trumpets, a holy convocation. Jews even got their own rules with that. If it fall on a certain day, they have what they call postponement rules. We'll do it 2 days later. No, this is when the Most High said do it. On the first day of the 7th month. Ye shall do no servile work therein, but ye shall offer an offering made by fire unto Yahweh. Yeah. I was like, sometimes common sense has left the building, Sister Wanda. People don't have it. But we're going to go to BibleHub.com, and they're going to tell us what day this was talking about in Psalm 81, 1 through 3. You got to understand all of this to get this. It says, this is BibleHub.com, Cambridge Bible for schools and colleges. It says, the trumpet in the Hebrew shofar, the horn was distinguished from the metal trumpet. In the Pentateuch, you know, that's the first 5 books of the Bible, Torah. The use of the Pentateuch is the Greek way to say it. It says, the Pentateuch, the use of the shofar is only prescribed in connection with the year of Jubilee. That's Leviticus 25:9. But according to practice, it was used for the new year as well. See, they talking about Rosh Hashanah. It said the Targum expressly states that the new moon of Tishrei is meant here, and there is no sufficient reason for setting aside this ancient Jewish tradition and supposing that the new moon of Nisan, as Passover, Aviv, Nisan, the first month of the ecclesiastical year is meant on the. He said they tell you that this you blow that new moon in the Feast of Trumpets, not for it wasn't for Passover. Now you can blow a trumpet, but in Psalms 81, it's specifically talking about atonement. I'm not atonement. It's specifically talking about a Yom Teruah, you know, one of the fall feasts. But anyway, you can read the rest of that on your own. But of course, what's a new moon? Because a new moon is very important in understanding of the lunar Sabbath doctrine. talking about some this week, the Sabbath is on Tuesday. It is? Where you see that at in the Bible? New moon. The phase of the moon when it is in conjunction, meaning you can't see it, with the sun and invisible from the earth, or shortly thereafter when it appears as a slither crescent. That's the second day, actually. We're going to show you something today. That's the second day. But anyway, a lot of this, this is from the KaraiteJews.org. It said, it is true. There is no explicit commandment to set our months according to the sighting of the new moon. It ain't. But both rabbinites, them rabbinic people, and Karaites agree that this was the historical practice. Because they said that this is the historical practice. Baloney! And throughout history, it was the observant Karaites who maintained the ancient practice of sighting the new moon. You can't read thus saith Yahweh. I'm going to give you an example. This is an example right here. New moon. Let's just say it's a clock and 9 o'clock is the new hour. We'll make the new moon be the new hour. It's so the new moon would be where you don't see no light. Now, when you get from, they say, well, when we get to, well, I should have put it right here. I should have put it right to the next minute right there, but the one is okay. But so that represent day 2. But from 9 o'clock all the way to 1, that's the new moon. We don't need to go see no crescent. The crescent is day 2. Sometimes it even went an extra day. Tradition. They want to make sure that this is the new moon. We got to make double sure. Like we don't want to go over the 40 stripes, so we're going to only do 39 stripes. That's what it is. Let's go to Torah.org. It says, God gave his commandment to the Jewish people in this week's Torah. Blah, blah, blah. It said, sanctifying the new moon seems an odd choice. I'm just going to skip down to the green to save time. In order to sanctify the new moon, each month, the Sanhedrin, the high court located in the Holy Temple of Jerusalem, would accept testimony from at least 2 or 3 witnesses who saw the glimmer of the first moon. The Sanhedrin, they set that practice and they put that into motion, and they still doing it to this day. It says, without deeper examination, the entire process seems unnecessary. Yes, it is unnecessary, especially with the tools that we have today. They can tell you exactly when the new moon is. Of course, it is unnecessary. The cycle of the moon is an entirely predictable, natural monthly occurrence following a precise mathematical formula. Blah, 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 blah. But it said, but who did these things right here? One of the guys, Hillel, and if Hillel number 2, if you familiar, he was one of the rabbis. His daddy, Hillel number 1, he said, to let you see what kind of things these guys are into, Hillel 1 said of divorce, you can divorce your wife for any reason. If she burned your food, you can divorce her. And Yeshua did not agree with that. But the sage Hillel II, over 1,600 years ago, followed a complex calendar with a 19-year cycle, which not only determines the month, but ensures they fall in the proper time and season. The Midrash said that this calculation was a part of the oral law. The Midrash. That ain't thus saith Yahweh either. It said it took NASA and modern measurements to duplicate it, meaning that it was unlikely Hillel II and his peers could have determined it at that time. They just get they good guesses at best. But let's look up tradition. Oral tradition. You can read that on your own. Go watch. This is from another class. You can pause it, read that on your own. That's paradosis. That's oral law. Oral law. And the sighting of the moon, the first day, Moses didn't give them that. They made that up. But over time, they just kept adding and adding and adding. But over time, they put those laws above the Most High's law. And that's what Yeshua and that's what Paul was talking about. They was like, hogwash, get that mess out of here. That's why you see Yeshua taking a different Passover, different what they was taking. But you can see the traditions of the elders. You can see on the right, what I really want you to see is on the right, on letter numeral 2, letter A, it said members of the great council of the Sanhedrin, because in early times the rulers of the people judges were selected from elderly men. Well, let's look at you can read this on your own. I don't have time to get into all this, but it tells you that they weren't these people. We will read some of it. It said the history. The rise of this great council in the Hebrews took place in the time of Greek supremacists. Doing what? The Greek supremacists. Was the Greeks in charge when Moses walked around? No. Through the rabbins or the rabbis endeavor to trace its origin to the college of the 70 elders and Moses, the first occasion in which it is mentioned and under the designation of Jerusia is the time of Antiochus the Great. BC, they say it go back to Moses. The rabbis, they say, oh yeah, it go back to Moses, but there's no evidence to support that. It said the first time that we actually see the Sanhedrin is in 223 to 187 BC. What? But you can read all the rest of it on your own, because Yeshua, he tell you this. Who you want to be in danger? You want to be in danger of the council or the Sanhedrin, or do you want to be in danger of the Most High? That's who you want to be. But let's get on into this first week and month of creation. Let's get into it. This is the lunar Sabbath doctrine. This is their doctrine. They said that the Sabbath always has to fall on the 8th, the 15th, the 22nd, and the 29th. They said a new moon day is that ain't even count as no day. The new moon day, which they say it is day one, they do say it's day one. They do say that, but they said that the after you had a new moon, now the days start to count. The work day will actually be the second day of the month now. So the new moon day, that don't count. And then actually another flaw of theirs, on the 29th, after the 29th, which is a Sabbath, that's when another new moon come in. They say the 30th day, that don't count either. So the 30th and the 1st, they are what is called new moon days. They don't count in the count. They say the work days begin at what? At number 2. They said 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They say that's when they say that it starts to work. But the problem is, if let's just say we get a new moon, let's say you just kept the Sabbath on the 29th. Now we get another new moon. You got the 30th. That's one day. You got the 1st. That's 2. Then you got the 2nd. That's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You got 8 days before you keep another Sabbath. That is insane. That's insane. That don't make sense. That ain't nowhere in the scripts. Yep. Could be Zechariah Z. That's insane that you can go 8 days before you keep another Sabbath. That's crazy. This is their problem. The Bible doesn't say. The one problem is the Bible doesn't say the Sabbath will always be on the I shouldn't be in there, but the 8th, 15th, and the 22nd. The Bible says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 work, Sabbath. That's what it says. Look at this one. Same thing. Again, this is their doctrine. They say that the new moon, that day one, this is the new moon. Oh, that day don't count. It's the first day of the month, but it don't count but it don't count. So the 6 days of work, they start on day 2. That's crazy. That ain't in the Bible. But you know, and those transition days, they rest on those days too. They don't do any work on there. But the problem is, if you say that those are rest days too, they say that, oh yeah, the transitional day, they rest days though. They rest days. Problem is, we see in Exodus 40 and 2, on the first day of the month, we see the Israelites, what they doing? Setting up tents and traveling. In Exodus 42 and Ezra 7:9. Got a studying brother in here. Oh. But it says on the first day of the first month. What they doing now? These are so-called. They say that those transitional days, or those transitional days, or those what new moon days, those rest days too. Somebody didn't tell the Hebrew Israelites that. They traveling and working on that day, setting stuff up. Stop. And you know, in Numbers chapter 15, when they count the fella gathering, just gathering sticks, put to death. They say new moon days are now not count. Let's stop. Let's go to this next scripture that I read and just throw and blow that all out of the water. You can blow it all out the water. And said, let's go to it. And this is David. David knew when the new moon was. Watch this. This is when David was running from Saul. He knows Saul wanted to kill him. This is 1 Samuel 20 and 5. And David said unto Jonathan, behold, tomorrow is the new moon. How David know that? How did he know that? Did he go and send two elders to go to the thing, the two guys in the wilderness to go and see? No. Did David see us? No, David didn't see no slither. What I think that David probably saw was he saw the waning crescent. The wane, not the waxing crescent, the waning crescent. He brought, oh yeah, tomorrow new moon. But David said unto Jonathan, behold, tomorrow is the new moon, and I should not fail to sit with the king at meat. I got to eat dinner with him that day. But let me go that I may hide myself in the field unto the third day at even. Keep in mind the third day. If thy father at all miss me, then say, David earnestly asked leave of me that he might run to Bethlehem, his city, for there is a yearly sacrifice for all the family. Then Jonathan said to David, tomorrow is the new moon. That both of them know. And thou shalt be missed, because thy seat will be empty. And because he used to eat with Saul and David and Abner and them, with Saul's family, he would eat with them. And thou shalt be missed, because thy seat will be empty. And when thou hast stayed 3 days, then thou shalt go down quickly and shalt come to the place where thou didst hide thyself when the business was in hand, and shalt remain by the stone of Ezel. And I will shoot 3 arrows on the side thereof, as though I shot at a mark. And behold, I will send a lad, saying, go, find the arrows. If I expressly say unto the lad, behold, the arrows are on the side of thee, take them, then come thou out, for there is peace to thee, and no hurt, as the Most High liveth. But if I say thus unto the young man, behold, the arrows are beyond thee, go thy way. Then let him know it's safe. If I do this, it's not safe. If I do this, it is safe. And as touching the matter which thou and I have spoken of, behold, the Most High will be between thee and me forever. So David hid himself in the field, and when the new moon was come, the king sat him down to eat meat. Now, what do the lunar Sabbath people say? They say that the Sabbath has to be the 8th, the 15th, the 22nd, and the 29th every month. That's what they say, right? But I'm finna show you something. It says, and the king sat upon his seat as other times, even upon a seat by the wall, and Jonathan arose, and Abner sat by Saul's side, and David's place was empty. Nevertheless, Saul spake not anything that day, for he thought something had befallen him. He is not clean. Surely he is not clean. And it came to pass on the morrow, which was the second day of the month. Said, Brother Runner, what this got to do with anything? Just keep listening. He said it was a new moon, so that was the first day of the month. And then the second day of the month, he still wasn't there eating with them. Let's skip to verse 34. So Jonathan arose from the table in fierce anger and did eat no meat the second day of the month. So we know it's the first day of the month. We know it's the second day of the month, but we're going to show you something. And it came to pass in the morning that Jonathan went out into the field at that time appointed with David and a little lad with him. And he said unto his lad, Run, find now the arrows which I shoot. And as the lad ran, he shot the arrow beyond him. And when the lad was come to the place of the arrow which Jonathan had shot, Jonathan cried after the lad and said, Is not the arrow beyond thee? And Jonathan cried after the lad, Make speed, haste, stay not. And Jonathan's lad gathered up the arrows and came to his master. But the lad knew not anything, only David and Jonathan knew the matter. And Jonathan gave his artillery unto his lad and said unto him, Go, carry them to the city. And as soon as the lad was gone, David arose out of the place toward the south and fell on the face of the ground and bowed himself 3 times. And they kissed one another and wept one with another until David exceeded. And Jonathan said to David, Go in peace, for as much as we have sworn both of us in the name of Yahweh, saying, The Most High be between me and thee, and between my seed and thee, and thy seed forever. And he arose and departed, and Jonathan went into the city. Now, what was this? The second day of the month. Now, what day of the month do they say the Sabbath always have to fall under? The 8th, the 15th, the 22nd, and the 29th. That's what they say. But let's go to show you that this fast forward. You're gonna fast forward a little bit. We're gonna see what this gonna be the third day right here. The third day. This is David and the holy bread. And then David came to Nob to Abimelech the priest, and Ahimelech was afraid at the meeting of David and said unto him, Why art thou alone and no man with thee? And David said unto Ahimelech, The king hath commanded me business. He lying to him. And hath said unto me, Let no man know anything of the business whereabout I send thee, that I have commanded thee, and I have appointed my servants to such and such a place. Now, therefore, what is under thine hand? Give me 5 loaves of bread in my hand, or that there is present. And the priest answered David and said, There is no common bread under mine hand, but there is hallowed bread, if the young men have kept themselves at least from women. And David answered the priest and said unto him, Of a truth, women have been kept from us about these 3 days since I came out, and the vessels of the young men are holy, and the bread is a manner of common, yea, though it were sanctified this day in the vessel. This is when David left Jonathan that second day. This third day, he meeting with this priest. And this priest is dealing with some holy bread. What David? But this story of Yeshua is telling the same story. You remember when Yeshua and his disciples were going through the grain fields, pluck corn? We'll read it. At that time, Yeshua on the Sabbath day went through the corn, just like Yeshua. Just like David on the Sabbath day through the corn, and his disciples were hungry and began to pluck the ears of corn to eat. But then, when the Pharisees saw it, those are the tradition keepers, they said unto him, Behold, thy disciples do that which is not lawful to do on the Sabbath day. But he said unto them, Have ye not read what David did? That's what David did right there. Letting you know that was the Sabbath day right there, which was the third day of the week. Not the 8th, not the 15th, not the 22nd, and not the 29th. We can close the book right now and go and get in the question and answer. Shut it down. Oh wow, that's wild. She said, didn't the children of Israel? There is nowhere in the Bible that say the children of Israel left on the full moon. There's nowhere in there. But during Passover, during that week, there was always a full moon that week of Passover. You know, people try to say that you look it up and they'll tell you no, it don't always fall on that day. It could, but it's all Passover always falls on a week of a full moon. You know, they always in the Christians they keep Easter. They always say that Easter has to be on the first full moon after the spring equinox. This year the spring equinox was on the 20th, and the new moon was on the 21st. Yeah, but there's nowhere that says that you can't read that. That's tradition. It ain't read nowhere that they'll try to tell a story. Oh, they had a full moon that night. They had a full moon that night so that they can see their way out of Egypt. Problem is that ain't wrote nowhere. Oh my goodness, man! We got to be careful. You have to study to show thyself approved. Yourself approved. But it says, but he said unto them, have you not read what David did? We just read how he entered into the house of God and did eat the showbread. Do you see that? But let's go and let you see that that's what it was. Because guess what? He just had changed the bread. The priest had just changed the bread according to Leviticus 24:5-8. And thou shalt take fine flour and bake 12 cakes thereof. 2/10 deals shall be in one cake, and thou shalt set them in 2 rows, 6 on a row, upon the pure table before Yahweh. And thou shalt put pure frankincense upon each row, that it may be on the bread for memorial, even on the offering made by fire unto the Most High. Every Sabbath he shall set it in order before the Most High continually, being taken from the children of Israel by an everlasting covenant. And it shall be Aaron and his son. That's what the priest had done. He changed out the bread. What day was it? The Sabbath day. What day of the week was it? It was what day was it? The 3rd day. They said it has to fall on the 8th, the 15th, the 22nd, and the 29th. That's what they say. What? So lunar Sabbath debunked right there. But lunar Sabbatarians, they would try to use what we just read to make it be that. But this is a great article I found. And I was like, man, they right on. But this guy said, in an attempt to show that there is an extra day of the new moon in the Bible, see that they trying to make their hold up their new moon days or their transitional days. It said, in attempt to show that there is an extra day of the new moon in the Bible, the lunar Sabbatarians quote the story of David and Jonathan found in 1 Samuel 20, where the new moon celebration was held for 2 days. So that those, because what? They knew when you couldn't see the moon, that's the new moon. And when you can see that slither of light, that's also what that was the little slither. It says, so those 2 days should be transitional day and the new moon day. No, stop it, you lunar Sabbatarians. The 30th day of the month was transitioned from one month to another. A dark day, like when Yeshua come back, when the trumpet is blown, he coming back. There will be no light. He will be the light, which we now call translation day, as mentioned above, and was a regular work day, not considered a holy day or a feast. The only one that was considered a holy day was the one that took place in the 7th month, with the Jews that, is Rosh Hashanah. They call it head of the year. That's the only time that they really celebrated it. It says, skip down after the last Sabbath, the 29th, because guess what, guys? 1 month, the moon only lasts 29.5 days. Do some research on that. It said there is a 2-day new moon celebration. Day 30 of the old month, followed by day 1 of the new month. You can look at that. But it said, let us look at the passage of the Bible that records the new moon celebrations. And David said unto Jonathan, behold, tomorrow is a new moon, and I shall not fail to sit with the king at meat. David did not attend the new moon dinner with Saul, which was customary. And as the king sat upon his seat at other times, even upon a seat by the wall, and Jonathan arose, and Abner sat by Saul's side, and David's place was empty. Now, the second day of the celebration of the new moon, David's seat was still empty. As it came to pass on the morrow, which was the second day of the month, that David's place was empty, and Saul said unto Jonathan his son, wherefore cometh not the son of Jesse to meet, neither yesterday nor today? He says, yes, from the above passage of scripture, we understand that there were 2 days of celebration, when the moon was dark and the slither, because when the moon is dark, you can't see it. That's the new moon. It says, now please note, when were the 2 days of celebration? And it came to pass on the morrow, which was the second day of the month, that David's place was empty. And Saul said unto Jonathan his son, wherefore cometh not the son of Jesse to meet, neither yesterday nor today? The second day of the celebration of the new moon was the second day of the month. The lunar Sabbatarians say that the 2-day celebrations were the 30th of the month, 30th of the old month, the translation days, and the first day of the new month. That's what they say, to try to see. They understand that they understand all of this. But let's skip down. It said to the green, with this their calendar, the lunar Sabbatarian calendars, is upside down. If the second day of the month were still the new moon, then the first day of the week, according to their theory, begins the next day of the new moon, which would be the third day of the month and the Sabbath. See, they junk is lunacy. David got the showbread on the Sabbath day, the third day of the month. So we're gonna ask you a question. Was this day the Sabbath, which we finna read? Watch this. This kills their stuff too. It says, and it came to pass on the 20th day of the second month. So it's the 20th day of the month. What day do they say the Sabbath is? And they will admit to you that we can't do no work on the Sabbath. They will admit that to you. And it came to pass on the 20th day. Yeah, pun intended, brother Zacharias. Lunacy, lunacy. Zacharias, he's sharp. I'm telling you, he's sharp. And it came to pass on the 20th day of the second month. That's the 20th day. Now, what day do they say of the month is the Sabbath? In the second year that the cloud was taken up from off the tabernacle of the testimony, and the children of Israel took their journeys out of the wilderness of Sinai, and the cloud rested in the wilderness of Paran. And they departed from the mount of the Most High 3 days journey. And the ark of the covenant of Yahweh went before them in 3 days. So if you count, they traveled on the 20th day is when they left. There's 1, 22, 23. I mean, 20, 21, 22. 22, that would be the 22nd month. And they departed and 3. So if that's their Sabbath, they searching out a rest. See, that is a resting. No. They just been traveling. They just trying to rest. This is not for the weekly Sabbath. This is that. So when they get there, the 22nd, which is your lunar Sabbath day, they gotta set up the tents. They gotta set. Everybody gotta work, carry stuff, gather stuff, set up tents. They're not allowed to do that on the Sabbath day. Lunar Sabbath debunked. Here goes some more. These are their main verses right here. They say we're gonna see all of the Sabbaths at the same. We're gonna see the 6 working days. This new moon is the Sabbath. Huh? It says Ezekiel 46:1. Thus saith Yahweh, the gate of the inner court that looketh toward the east shall be shut the 6 working days, but on the Sabbath shall be open. And in the day of the new moon, it shall be what? it shall be what? Open. So this is what they said. See, you see that right there? That's a that's a new, that's the day of the new moon. You know that when they blow the trumpet, that's a special Sabbath. Yeah, I agree with that, but you don't understand the two Sabbaths. You don't understand the two different kind of Sabbaths in the Bible. You have Sabbath and you have Sabbathon. It says Sabbath and Sabbathon. Now, during a regular working week, a regular week, 6 days. Let me. I don't want to mess this up. I want to be real precise and real clear. The gate of the inner court that looketh toward the east shall be shut on the 6 working days. What do you mean the inner court? You know, going towards the tabernacle or towards the temple. That is shut those days. Y'all out there working every day. But on the Sabbath, it shall be open, and in the day of the new moon. So they don't understand. They don't understand. They don't understand this. Like, let's just say we got 7 working days. Let's say Passover fall on one of those working days. If Passover fall on one of those working days, that high Sabbath day supersedes the rule that says that gate has to be shut and it will be open that way. It's the same thing with the new moon. If it fall on it supersedes that. You got to understand Shabbat and Shabbathon. People don't understand that. The regular Sabbath, the regular weekly Sabbath, it is called a Shabbat. A special holy day is called a Shabbathon. That's what people don't get. I'm gonna look up something real quick. Hold on, give me 1 second, folks. Look up something. I left something out. Hold up. I'm trying to tell y'all it's just crazy. Ezekiel 46. Ezekiel 46 and 1. I want to get that. I want to look that word up real quick. Yep. Yeah. So I made a mistake right there in verse 1 right there. That should not be Sabbath. That's a Sabbathon. A Sabbathon. A Sabbathon. So if a holy day fall on a regular working day, like let's just say it fall on Friday, usually the gate to the inner court is supposed to be closed. It can be open that day because it's a Shabbathon. A Shabbathon, a new moon, the day of the new moon, that's a Shabbathon. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Because guess what? Sometimes rules change for the regular Sabbath, and then you have special holy day Sabbaths. That's what they try. So they go back here and they say, see there right there? The Sabbath. No, stop. You don't know what you're talking about. But you got regular weekly Sabbath, no work, no cooking, no flame, no nothing, no gathering, no carrying, none, period. You can't do that, which is why in Numbers, what we saw, in Numbers, what we just saw, where they was traveling, and they ended up on the 22nd day, we know that wasn't the Sabbath, because the Sabbath strictly says, the law strictly says none of this on the left side that you see. On the right side, you can work, you can cook, you can gather on a Shabbathon, just no servile work. Let's go. Watch this. Leviticus 23:38. Let me pull YouTube back up. All right. That's right. That's right, Sister Erica Yashel. That's right. You are exactly right. We got to be able to read stuff, folks. We can't just assume. You know what they say assuming does. And I ain't got to say that. But watch this. Besides the Sabbaths of the Lord, that is regular Sabbath, and besides your gifts, and besides your vows, and beside all your free will offering, which ye shall give unto Yahweh, also in the 15th day of the 7th month, when ye have gathered in the fruit of the land, ye shall keep a feast unto the Most High 7 days. What is this we talking about? This what is this we talking about? This would be tabernacles that we would be talking about. It said the first day shall be the first day shall be a feast unto the Lord 7 days. The first day shall be a Sabbath. That's Shabbathon. That means a special feast day. You see right here, the one at the top, Shabbat, that means a special, that means a regular Sabbath. The one at the bottom, you will see it, that's a special holy day. It's a difference between them. They don't understand that. It said the first day shall be a Shabbathon, and the 8th day shall be a Sabbath, a Shabbathon as well. See, in verse 38, that's a regular Sabbath, Shabbath. But the special Sabbath is a holy day, that's a Shabbathon. When you look that Greek, when you look that Hebrew word up, it'll say Shabbathon. But in the English, all we see is Sabbath. That's what people don't get. You got to be an astute student of this Bible. You can't be fooled. You can't get carried away with every wind of doctrine. You can't. But let's go to Leviticus 23 and 24. It says, speak to the children of Israel, saying, in the 7th month, in the first day, ye shall have a Sabbath or Shabbathon, a memorial of blowing trumpets. In verse 29, it said, in the 7th month, on the first day of the month, ye shall have a holy convocation. Ye shall do no servile work. You can do other work that is needed for that particular feast. That's what people don't get. Now, when we saw in, let's go back to it. In Numbers chapter 10, on that third day, the third day when they was on the 22nd day of the 2nd month, there is no holy day on that day. Even if that was the 22nd, ain't no holy day for that day. So it wouldn't be no work allowed for them to do. They couldn't do any work. They wouldn't be able to set up their tents and all that. The Most High, you saw what they did in Numbers chapter 15 to that dude, just for picking up sticks. Stop playing. Lunar Sabbath is false doctrine. Let's go to another one they love. Amos 8 and 5, saying, when will the new moon be gone, that we may sell corn, and the Sabbath that we may set forth wheat, making an ephah small, and the great and falsifying of balances of deceit. See there? No, man, stop playing. That's a special holy day. Stop playing. But we're gonna go to some publications to prove to you that ain't no lunar Sabbath stuff. That stuff fake, false, phony. We're gonna look at the word on page 159 in the New Shop Herzog Encyclopedia of Knowledge, volume 10. And we're going R through S under Sabbath. It said 2 opinions as to the origin of the Sabbath were formerly held. One that God created man to rest as he himself had done after creating the world, and that Moses revived the still lingering observance of the command. The other that the ordinance was originated by Moses, both views being based on the allusion to the Sabbath. It is now held by many that the Sabbath they try to tell you the Sabbath is a Babylonian origin. We're going to deal with that. But anyway, it said, we want to go to it's just the same publication. It said the Jews immediately from the Canaanites, they said they got it Babylonian from the Canaanites. While another hypothesis maintains that the Sabbath represent a moon feast of nomadic ancestors of the Israelites. The Canaanite and the nomadic theories are both undemonstrable and unnecessary, but the relation between the Jewish and the Babylonian Sabbath, the problem is more complex. The cuneiform inscription contains 2 equations of importance in this connection. Sabbatu, day of the appearing heart of the gods, also Sabbath to the 15th day. Consequently, the Babylonian Sabbath was a day of penance, and in the middle of the Babylonian month. They'll tell you that what lunar Sabbath keep people to tell you the 7 day week cycle that you're doing that comes from the Babylonians. The children of Israel got that when they were in Babylonian captivity. No, the Babylonians kept their Sabbath in the middle of the month. They didn't go by no 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Shabbat. They didn't do that. It has also been held that the 7th, the 7th, the 14th, the 21st, and the 28th days of the month designated as an ill omen were the Babylonian Sabbaths. But for this argument, there is no evidence, and it must be accordingly be assumed that the 15th day of each month was the Sabbath of the Babylonians. What's the Sabbath for the Hebrews? Day 7. This day was reckoned that of the full moon, but since the Hebrew Sabbath was not connected with the full moon and was a day of gladness, not penance, and since the Babylonians had no week of 7 days, the assumption that the Hebrews borrowed the Sabbath from the Babylonians lacks all foundation. Lunar Sabbath people that say that the way we keep the Sabbath now is from the Babylonians, you're lying. Because guess what? When they came out of Babylonian captivity, guess what? If that's where they got it from, Yeshua kept it too. Oh yeah, Yeshua kept it too. Guess who else kept it? Paul kept it. Luke 4:16 and Acts 17 too. And when he came to Nazareth where he had been brought up, and as his custom was, he went into the synagogue on the Sabbath day and stood up for the read. Acts 17:2. And Paul, as his manner was, went in unto them, and 3 Sabbath days reasoned with them what? Out of the scriptures. So then they say, well, what about the Roman? They got an 8-day calendar. They had an 8-day. They didn't change the time. We can't go by that. We got to go by the lunar. We got to go by the moon to keep our Sabbaths so they can be on the 8th, on the 15th. And they ate and no. They also had the Romans. Yes, it's true. They had an 8-week calendar, but they also had a 7-day, 8-day calendar. They also, that should be week, that should be day. They also had a 7-day calendar called the Sabine calendar. Or we're going to go to this book called Sunday in Roman Paganism by Robert L. Odom. And turn to page 477, you will see in the yellow the Sabine calendar. In 1795 were found the marble fragments, what is now known as the Sabine calendar, Fasti Sabini, in a place in central Italy. These portions represent the months of September and October in the Julian calendar. The experts in this type of archaeological finds have declared them to belong to the reign of Augustus Caesar. And they were in use between 19 BC and 4 AD. It says in 14 BC. 4 AD, 19 BC and 4 AD. That is between the years 735 and 757 of the foundation of the city of Rome, right? But what significance is that? That's when you got to know your Caesars. You gotta know your Caesar. What Caesar was this? Augustus. So I put this for you. This is something good for you guys to know who the Roman emperors was during the Bible times. Guess who went in there during the Bible times? Constantine. He wasn't. And this particular chart comes from my favorite Bible dictionary, Unger's Bible Dictionary, on page, I believe it's page 485. Let me make it might be 400 something. I think it's page 485. I didn't put it, but I always go to it. But Augustus, the Sabine calendar was during Augustus time. When we gonna see, and Yeshua them, they was on their calendar. But look, just look at some of these Romans. Augustus from 4 BC to 14 AD. He was Yeshua was born in what they call 4 BCE. I said, how was he? What? How that happened? BCE means before common era. But Tiberius, 14 AD to 37 AD. John the Baptist was in 27 AD. These people lived during these times, and they were on them calendars. But now you can read the rest on your own. You can see in the green down the bottom, there was this fun fact. Can be some good trivia for you. This is the year of 4 emperors. In 68 to 69 AD, they had 4 emperors. Nero died. And then Nero, Galbo, Otho, all in 1 year time. They had 4 emperors. That's crazy. Can you imagine us in America having 4 presidents in 1 year? That's insane. But famous first. This is another book you should go to in the ancient Greek and Roman world. So you're going to go to page 166. This is the Sabine calendar. This is it right here. It said the first reference to a 7-day week. Yeah, they had a 8-week, but they had a 7-week going right, a 7-day calendar going right with it. And that's the one that the Hebrew Israelites follow. It says an inscription, CIL 1.220, dated between 19 BC and AD 14, preserving the remains of the Sabine calendar, is the earliest known public record of a 7-day week. The calendar was produced by Balsdon 62. You can see the first column on the left that's the first day of that week, E, F, G, A, B, C, D. And when it gets past number 7, gets to D, it starts all over again with E. So E will be like their Sunday. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. When it gets to D, then it starts all over again. The second column is that 8-week thing that they had. And so you can see that A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, and then it starts all over with A. But the Hebrew Israelites were on the 7-day. Let's go to Josephus. The complete works of Josephus against Payan, Book 2, Section 40. We have already demonstrated that our laws have been such as have always inspired admiration and imitation into all other men. May the earliest Grecian philosopher, though in appearance they observed the laws of their own countries, yet did they, in their actions and in their philosophic doctrines. It says, because they said, oh, they copied it from the Babylonians. And they copied from the Babylonians. Then they on an 8-week. Then they changed to an 8-day calendar. No. Josephus, tell them again. We have already demonstrated that our laws have been such as have always inspired admiration and imitation into all other men. But why the Romans got an 8-day? We're going to show you something in a minute. He said, nay, the earliest Grecian philosophy, though in appearance they observed the laws of their own countries, yet did they, in their actions and their philosophic doctrines, follow our legislator, and instructed men to live sparingly and to have a friendly communication with one another. Nay, further, the multitude of mankind itself have had a great inclination of a long time to follow our religious observances. For there is not any city of the Grecians, nor any of the barbarians, nor any nation whatsoever, whither our custom of resting on the 7th day have not come, and by which our fast and lighting up lamps and many of our prohibitions as to our food are not observed. But he said that a lot of people taking our 7 days, though, because guess what? During the reign of Constantine, he changed the day of rest, to Sunday. Now, they was imitating them. They also endeavored to imitate our mutual, but they didn't imitate the food. Josephus said they still eat garbage, eat whatever they want. And the charitable distribution of our goods and our diligence in our trades and our fortitude is undergoing the distress we are in. And on account of their laws, and do y'all notice we don't see nothing about the Sabbath being anywhere in, like, on a Monday or two? We don't see that. Type 1 if you see that. Mhm. It says, uh, they endeavor to imitate our mutual type one. If you see that ain't in there, the Sabbath can fall on any day of the week. My goodness, I don't understand. It said, and the chatter distribution of our goods, and our diligence in our trades, and our fortitude in undergoing the distresses we are in, and on account of our laws, and what is here matter of the greatest admiration. Our law have no bait of pleasure to allure men. He said, our law have no bait of pleasure to allure men to it, but it prevails by its own force. He said, our law don't have no bait of pleasure. Why? Because the Most High tell you how it should be. Nobody don't want to do what it should be, but it prevails by its own force. That's called a ruach. And as God himself pervades all the world, so have thy laws passed through all the world also, so that if anyone will but reflect on his own country and his own family, he will have reason to credit to what I say. It is therefore but just either to condemn all mankind of indulgent and wicked disposition when they have been so desirous of imitating laws that are to them foreign and evil in themselves. Josephus is just saying, most men, you see it. This Bible is all in the world now. It's everywhere. But I'm gonna tell you, because some people they'll say, they also say, if you keeping Sabbath, that's Satan's day, Saturn's day. Okay, so I'm gonna ask you, do you eat cereal? I bet they do. But did you know, fun fact, that the word cereal is named after the Greek goddess Sirius? People don't know that. I learned that at the zoo the other day. We went to the zoo and we went to the little farm part and they started talking about the cereals and all that stuff. That's who it's named after. Mr. Lunar Sabbath man. Do you not eat cereal? They said Sabbath, but I'm gonna tell you, Sabbath equals Saturday equals, they all the same day, no matter what you call it. What you call it? Let's go to Sextus Julius Frontinus Stratagems book 2.1.17. Went and found this for you. You ain't got to do the leg work. I did it to you. I put 20 hours into this lesson. 20. Because somebody asked me to do it. Sextus Julius Frontinus called Stratagems book. I put book. It's book 2.1.17. This was a Roman who wrote this book. This is a book of strategies on how to beat your enemies. But this talking about Vespasian, which was that dude that took Jerusalem. You can go back and see him on that chart of emperors that I have. But the deified Vespasian Augustus attacked the Jews on their Sabbath, a day on which it is sinful for them to do any work. We're going to see what that day is. We're going to go to Dio's Roman history. Dio, his name is Dio Cassius, but we're going to go to book 37 first, page 127. It says, let's see. I want to start at the letter 3, the red 3. It said Pompey immediately won over Hyrcanus, who is in the book of Josephus. You know Hyrcanus, who allowed the Edomites to convert over to the Israel way of life. Yeah, Pompey immediately won over Hyrcanus without battle, since the latter had no force worthy of note, and by shutting up Aristobulus in a certain place, he compelled him to go to terms, and he would surrender neither money nor the garrison. He threw him into chains. After this, he more easily overcame the rest, but had trouble besieging Jerusalem. Why? Most of the city, to be sure, he took without trouble, as he was received by the party of Hyrcanus. But the temple itself, which the other party had occupied, he captured only with difficulty. For it was on high ground and was fortified by the wall of his own. And if they had continued defending it on all days alike, he could not have got possession of it. He said, this is why he did get possession of it. As it was, they made an excavation of what are called the days of Saturn. And by doing no work at all on those days, afforded the Romans an opportunity in this interval to batter down the wall. That's how he was able to get it. The Hebrew Israelites, they kept the Sabbath. All the other days, they couldn't hardly get it. But on the Sabbath, he wouldn't have been able to got the temple. He wouldn't have been able to got it if they wasn't resting on the Sabbath. You're going to read in the Maccabees where some Israelites, they were defeated because they wouldn't fight on the Sabbath. But they call it the day of Saturn. It's Saturday. It's Sabbath day. That's just what they're calling it. They call it the Sabbath day, day 7. We call it the Sabbath. They call it Saturn, and people call it Saturday too. The latter, on learning of the superstitions alls of theirs, made no serious attempts the rest of the time, but on those days when they came round in succession, assaulted most vigorously. Thus the defenders were captured on the day of Saturn. Why? Because they rested on that day. That's why Yeshua said, pray that your flight be what? Not on the Sabbath. Oh boy. But watch this. This is book 65, page 271. Same Dio Roman history. Watch this. In the green. Thus was Jerusalem destroyed on the very day of Saturn, the day which even now the Jews revere most. But they call it the day of Saturn. We ain't even got to read the rest of this. You see it. It's the Sabbath. Don't listen to them. That's a pagan day, Saturday. Okay. Let's go to Josephus' Wars. This is Pompeii. We ain't going to read it. We're just going to read the green. But he said, had not Pompey taken notice of the 7 days on which Jews abstained from all works on a religious account and raised his bank, but restrained his soldiers from fighting on those days, for the Jews only acted defensively. The Jews only acted defensively on their days. They wouldn't fight. That's crazy. I'm telling you, the order never changed. They see there, look at there. We almost done. Yeah. But but the order never changed. See, that's it. See, it went from Julius to Gregorius, but the order of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 never changed. Look at this picture. In October 1582, on the 4th, Thursday, they just added 11 days to the calendar, was the 4th. But the next day was the 15th. They never changed the order. Pope Gregory never changed the order. But we're going to go to the dude that he put in charge of it named Lilius. We're going to go to the Catholic inside. So when they did change this day, when they did add some days, they never changed the order. Go back. It was Thursday, October 4th. The next day, they just said, oh, today the 15th. Why did they do that? Because of all of their tinkering and messing with stuff. Their precious Easter day was following all over the place. They wanted to make it where it's always on Sunday and when it's in the spring. Sometimes they were having it was still winter. It was still winter. So they were like, this Sunday is our holy day. Fix this. Can you imagine? Lilius, get your behind here. Fix this. I'm tired of this. It should be on Sunday. Easter should be on Sunday. He was upset. But let's go to the encyclopedia. Catholics have done the research for you. Lilius. But the reason I just said, according to him, Easter should be fixed on Sunday nearest to March 25th, or in Spaniard, you see, but Lilius. But thus, here's one idea that never came up. We're gonna change the order of the days. It said, thus very imaginable proposition was made. He said a lot of stuff was made. Only one idea was never mentioned. The abandonment of the 7-day week never changed. The order never changes, lunar Sabbatarians. It never, ever changes. See, we got 35 in here. Everybody, please hit that like button. Please hit it. See, we got a new subscriber today, 610. Appreciate it. We didn't have it this morning. I check every morning. But they said Saturn is the name of Satan's day. Let's read it. This page, page 129, same book. It says the country has been named Judea and the people themselves Jews. I do not know how this title came to be given to them, but it implies also to all the rest of mankind, although of alien race, of what is that? Alien race. This going back to the first book that we had went to, but it says but it applies to all the rest of let me go to it. Let me show it to you. Back to this book, D.O. Roman History. So we going back there. It says it says this country has been named Judea and all the people themselves Jews. I do not know how this title came to be given to them, but it applies to also to the rest of mankind, although of alien race who affect their customs. Who start to do their custom. He said Dio, this is Roman Dio. He said it affects their, if you get with them, you start to keep their customs. The class exists even among the Romans. We know that Paul was talking to Gentiles. And though often repressed, has increased to a very extent and has won its way to right of freedom in its observances. They are distinguished by the rest of mankind in practically every detail of life. They are set apart. They're different. You should be set apart. You should be different. But show extreme reverence. They are distinguished from the rest of mankind in practically every detail of life, and especially by the fact that they do not honor any of the usual gods, but show extreme reverence for one particular divinity, who? Yahuwah. They never had any statue of him. That's why Paul said he's the unknown God. Even in Jerusalem itself, but believing him to be unnameable and invisible. They worship him in the most extravagant fashion on the earth. They built him a temple that was extremely large and beautiful, except insofar as it opens roofless. Except insofar as it was open and roofless, and otherwise dedicated to him. The day called the day of Saturn, on which, among many other peculiar services, they undertake no serious occupation. The Romans call it Saturn. The Hebrews call it Sabbath, because the Most High called it the Sabbath. Let's go to the English. Let's go to the Catholic Encyclopedia, Volume 3, page 740. The days, because some people, the days are all of the days are pagan. So you don't go to work because it's Monday. Oh, it's Moon's Day. I ain't going. you lunar moon people. Days of the month and the week. It said various methods have been devised for ascertaining upon what day of the week any given dates falls. The best known is for that the dominical letters, which is this disadvantage that a table is usually required to find out what is the dominical letter for the year in question. A complication is likewise caused by the necessity of passing from one letter to another in leap years on reaching the intercalendary day in February. The following method is free from these inconveniences and can be worked into without any reference to table. The days of the week are numbered according to their natural order. 1, Sunday day. The Most High call it 1. The pagans call it Sunday. The Most High call it 2. The pagan call it Monday. The Most High calls it 3. They call it Tuesday. So on and so forth. Down at the bottom, it says in green, thus when Gregory the 8th reformed the calendar in 1582, Thursday, 4 October was followed by Friday. Didn't we just say that? The order never changes. Let's go to evidence from scientists, historians, and we ain't got but 6 more slides left. Just chill out, y'all. Chill out. We almost done. Evidence from scientists, historians, and astronomers. Yeah, he did. Yeah. Yeah. Historians have amassed an immense record of human events going back thousands of years. Those records tell us people keeping the 7 day holy far back in recorded history. Astronomers have kept an accurate record of time, and theirs is one of the most accurate that you will find. They tell us that if the records of all time should suddenly be lost, the astronomers can rediscover time from mathematics of the stars and their motions, because the Most High make it do the same thing every day, every day, every month, every week, every year. It does the same thing. The Most High put the stars in the heavens for signs and for seasons and for days and for years. So these are statements by eminent scientists, historians, and astronomers. But you got somebody on fries at McDonald's, not job shaming. I worked in the food industry for a while too. You on fries. But the McDonald's might help you, please. You want me to believe you. Yeah, the Sabbath should always be on the 8th, the 15th, the 22nd, and the 29th. Bruh, you a chicken technician. Get on up out of my face. That's what I used to, people like, what do you do? When I worked at Barn Hills, oh, I'm a chicken technician. You know, oh, they're like, oh, you work at a restaurant. Not ashamed. That particular job paid for my first year in college. I saved my money and paid for my first year of college with working there. You know, college wasn't so expensive like it is now. It was expensive, but not as expensive. It says, one of the most striking. Oh, you welcome, brother Jeff. It says, one of the most striking collateral confirmations of Mosaic history of the creation is the general adoption of the division of time into weeks, which extends from the Christian states of Europe, blah, blah, blah. I ain't interested in what they got to say. But anyway, skip down to the yellow. The week has been followed for thousands of years and therefore has been hallowed by immemorable use. That is Anders Donald, the report, page 51. And he has been a professor of astronomy at the University of Helsingfors. But you on fries at McDonald's. Not job shaming. I used to work in the food industry too. And we'll work there again if the Most High had me to do so. If I lost my job for some reason, I gotta take care of my family by any means necessary. The next one. I have always hesitated to suggest breaking the continuity of the week, which without a doubt is the most ancient scientific institution bequeathed to us by antiquity. That's Eduard Balilaw, the report, page 52. He was a director of the Prius Observatory. And all of this is available on www.biblesabbath.com. You can go, or you can email me and I'll send you the whole PDF. It said, here's one by the Encyclopedia Britannica. The week is a period of 7 days. It has been employed from time immemorial in almost all Eastern countries. You know, over there where Jerusalem and everything is. Now, this is from Dr. James Robertson. He is the director of the American Ephemeris Navy Department U.S. Naval Observatory in Washington, D.C. He said, as to question 1, I can only state that in connection with the proposed simplification of the calendar, we have had occasion to investigate the results of the works of specialists in chronologically, and we have never found one of them that has ever had the slightest doubt the continuity of the weekly cycle since long before the Christian era. As to question 2, there has been no change in our calendar in past centuries that has affected any way the cycle of the week. Dr. James Robertson, Navy Department, U.S. Naval Observatory, but you on fries at McDonald's. This is Dr. Dyson. I had a professor in college named Dr. Dyson. Brother bought me dinner when I ain't have no money. Well, I ain't have damn money. No, I ain't have 2 nickels to rub together. It was my last year. Say it real quick, Dr. I seen Dr. Dyson on here. He's from I think Australia. He talked like Saudi. Hey mate, that's how he talked. He said, "Oh, guys, you know what? We're not gonna have class tonight. We just gonna we were student teaching five. It was about five of us. And he said, we're gonna go to Buffalo Wild Wings." And I said, "Oh, okay, let's yeah. You know, I'm thinking in my mind, ooh, you can go there, but I ain't got no money. And man, I'm thinking about gas too. And so we get there, they order. I just said, let me get some water. He pulled me to the side. "You don't have any money, do you?" I said, "No, I don't." And he said, "Get what you want. Get what you want." And I got what I wanted. So I always remember him for that. Dr. Ben Dyson. That was his name. It says, this Dr. Dyson, not Ben Dyson. "As far as I know, in various changes in the calendar, there has been no change in the 7-day rota of the week, which has come down from very early times." This is what they all say. This is what they all say. I ain't make this stuff up. Let me see another one that I might want to read. All of them saying the same thing. It says this is our astronomical column. I ain't gonna it don't tell me who wrote that one. This is Dr. Campbell, and was director of Lick Observatory, Mount Hamilton, California. "The week of 7 days has been in use ever since the days of the Mosaic dispensation, and we have no reason for supposing that any irregularities have existed in the succession of weeks and their days from that time to the present." Dr. W. Campbell. But you on fries. You hear me? In the green, it said, "By calculating the eclipses, it can be proven that no time has been lost and that the creation days were 7 divided into 24 hours each." Dr. Hinckley, the Watchman, July 1926. But again, you on fries. It said the continuity of the week, meaning 7 days, across the century, and all known calendars still are what? Intact. Professor D. Ingenitis. All right, this is the last one. Then we're gonna read out of this. Then we're gonna go to Philo. But let's see. You can read the rest on your own. You get the point. Let's go to the works of Philo. This is on creation, section 128. I had a PDF for this. If anybody would like it, I'm gonna tell you, this book wins the championship of trying to find stuff in it. If you mark where it is, you better remember where you put it. It says on creation, section 128. It says, "These things are more still are said in a philosophical spirit about the number 7, on account of which it was received the highest honors in the highest nature, and it is honored by those of the highest reputation among both Greeks and barbarians who devote themselves to mathematical sciences." Like the Hebrew boys, they was good in the sciences. You know, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and Daniel. You know, them were they names, them weren't they let me keep pushing. But it says, "It was also greatly honored by Moses, a man much attached to excellence of all sorts, who described his beauty on the most holy pillars of the law that people say is done away with, and wrote it in the hearts of all those who were subject to him." See there, what Moses did. "Commanded them at the end of each period of 6 days, not this the new moon, this number 1, this day don't count. We gonna start day 2, they're gonna be the first." Now stop that. "It was also greatly honored by Moses, a man such attached to excellence of all sorts, who described his beauty on the most holy pillars of the law, and wrote it in the hearts of all those who were subject to him, commanded them at the end of each period of 6 days to keep the 7th day holy, abstaining from all other works which are done in seeking after and providing the means of life, devoting that day to a single object of philosophizing," what we doing today, "with a view to the improvement of their morals," what we doing today and every Sabbath day, "and the examination of their consciences, for conscience being seated in the soul as a judge." That's what we got to try to get this stuff in. You can read the rest on your own. But the conclusion is, brothers and sisters, the lunar Sabbath is false doctrine. Don't believe it. Don't believe it. You talking about now? That's some hard mess. Yeshua said this the law easy. Lunar Sabbath, that's hard. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Shabbat. That ain't hard, is it? No. But let's go. Revelation 22, 12 through 17. And behold, I come quickly, and my reward is with me to give every man according as his work shall be. I am Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end, the first and the last. Blessed are they that what? Do his commandments, that they may have right to the tree of life, and may enter in through the gates into the city. For on the outside is dogs, sorcerers, and whoremongers, and murderers, and idolaters, and whosoever looketh and loveth and maketh a lie. I, Yeshua, have sent mine angel to testify unto you these things in the churches. I am the root and offspring of David, and the bright and morning star. And the Spirit and the bride say, come on. And let him that heareth say, come. And let him that athirst come. And whosoever will, let him take of the water of life freely. Brothers and sisters, that's the lunar Sabbath doctrine. I will not be speaking on it anymore, except to say it's false. That's all. That's all, folks. All right.